Hi, it's a lipstick gal. Thank you so much for watching today. Let's talk about some new makeup releases. So I kind of love and hate this time of year. We are solidly into holiday releases. Things have been out for a while, and I have been trying to slow my roll. And I think a lot of it happened this summer when my favorite makeup artist, Lisa Eldridge, released 10 new lipsticks and I bought 8. And then my favorite eyeshadow brand, Sydney Grace, had their Christmas and July sale. And I bought, I think, 5 eyeshadow palettes and like 30 singles and a mystery bag. Like, I just said yes to all the things. And I'm trying to, even though I have been enjoying all of the things I have purchased recently, I'm trying to remind myself that despite the fact that I have this YouTube channel, how much makeup can I reasonably use? And I don't want to fall down the rabbit hole of buying all the things, because then that might influence you to buy all the things. I don't want to do that. And I also want to remind myself that it's better to carefully let things in a more curated and careful way than to just open the floodgates and whatever lands on my desk lands on my desk. All right, so I'm going to pick up my phone, go to Trend Mood One Instagram account. I will link that in the description bar down below. But this is kind of like the source that I use to see what's going on. All right, so I'm just gonna start at the very top of the feed where I am today, and we're gonna talk about it. And oh my goodness. The other thing I wanna let you know is I'm not gonna talk about everything, because we'd be here forever. I'm just gonna talk about the stuff that either makes me feel like, oh, it makes my heart go pitter pat, or the things that make me go, excuse me, what? Who asked for this? I'm gonna try not to be too snarky. I'm gonna try, but I'm kind of feeling myself today. I'm just gonna say it. As I'm going through and kind of scrolling through the feed, the first thing that kind of made me stop and go, oh, wait, what? And kind of sit up and take attention is the new blush and highlighter palette from Patrick Ta. The cheek products I already have from him. I have one of his cream and powder duos for contour and bronzer, as well as one for blush, and I love both of them. And I recently picked up his new foundation duo, foundation and powder, and I have an eyeshadow palette. I like everything that I have from him, but I feel like some products I reach for more regularly. I do like the cheek products that I have, but I don't know that the colors in this palette are necessarily ones that I have to have, because he has 2 new like powder and cream blush duos, and then he has a new highlight duo. And I don't know, it says that the blushes are 1 cream, 1 powder, and they're in duo, so there's 2 new of those. And I don't know whether we have a powder as well as a cream highlight, whether they're both powders, whether they're both creams, I don't know. I'm curious about this. I think it's already available, because it's the day I'm recording this, it says available tomorrow at Sephora. So yeah, it's probably already out there. But I don't know that I'd want to spend $58 on this palette until I could really go into Sephora, swatch it for myself. But the truth is, I feel like with Patrick Ta's holiday things, if you don't get them like now, there'll probably be a restock before the Sephora VIB sale this fall. But I feel like if you don't get it sooner than later, they're gone, and then that's it. And I feel like if that happens and it's gone and I can't get my hands on it, I'd probably be just fine. I'm just looking as I'm scrolling through after the Patrick Ta. There's a lot of stuff that really is not kind of catching my interest. There's a lot of really bright, colorful eyeshadow palettes, and I know realistically I don't wear a lot of brights when it comes to eyes. So those are just definitely not for me. There are some brands that I feel are a little hit or miss for me. And so when they have a new release, it kind of doesn't even hit my radar. I'm just like, keep scrolling. The next thing that I see that made me kind of go, oh wait, and then I was like, nah, are Sephora Favorites sets. I used to love the Give Me More lip set from Sephora, where they would have like, 9 or 12 different minis and maybe a couple of full-size products. And the truth is, I realized that it makes more sense for me to spend my money to go in and buy 1 or 2 specific shades and formulas that I'm really interested in. Although I do love trying, and sometimes I'll be introduced to a formula I'd never tried before, or a shade I didn't think would work on me and looks smashing. But 9 times out of 10, I get those kind of sampler sets from the Sephora Favorites, and things just get used once or twice and then they just sit there. It's very rare that I have a lip product that I continue to reach for that is like a proven winner. And what's weird is that they usually are like bestsellers, and I feel like it looks like a good idea and it looks like it would be a fun gift, but sometimes it's, for me, as a makeup consumer, it's just a bunch of little things rolling around in a drawer. So I won't get any of the Sephora favorite sets this year. So this is already available for purchase. It's the new eyeshadow palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Rose Metals palette. I saw this and I was like, oh, it's so pretty. And I was like, wait a minute. I'll tell you, when they released this Nouveau palette, I was head over heels. I really have been enjoying wearing this. I like that the, you know, larger pan sizes, there's no brush. The packaging is slightly, you know, more compact. It doesn't have the velvet fuzz on the outside, which was pretty, but got so dirty, you know? But I feel like as I'm looking at this palette, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. But I feel like I would use those first 6 shades a lot. And then I would use maybe 2 at the end. And there's probably a third of this palette that I would never even touch. But I also feel like if I really wanted to, I could find a way to go through my collection. I probably have a lot of shades that are similar to this. And it might be better, instead of spending the money to go and purchase this, it might be better to go through and pick out what look like similar shades to me out of my, you know, fairly extensive eyeshadow collection. It would be really easy for me to get kind of an idea, an approximation, not in formula and not in perfect duped colors, but definitely an idea of what this would be like. And maybe that might be the way to go before deciding, do I need this? Because truth is, after about a month of using it, a lot of times a new palette just kind of sits there and I'm off to the next new thing. And I'm trying to stop myself from doing that, mainly because then I have a lot of waste, just stuff. I'm looking around and I already see piles of makeup that I'm no longer using or I was excited about for a while and I'm not there. And I want to make sure that when stuff comes into my collection, that it's something I'll be able to use for a significant amount of time, and not only when it's brand new, because there's always going to be something new, but if I only use it for that long. All right, I saw these. These are definitely not for me, but they kind of gave me all the feels. They're so funny. It's a Hip Dot and Care Bears collab, and it's mainly because, okay, when I was a kid, I was born in the 70s, mid 70s. I started going to school in 1981, and Care Bears were huge when I was a grade schooler. Huge! Loved them. They had a resurgence in the, you know, like the 2010s or something. My kids loved Care Bears, but I was there for the original Care Bears. Okay? Not that it matters, but I was there. And so when I saw these, they look so cute. The other thing that was kind of a big deal in the 80s, there were so many crayons that were shaped like animals or different things. So this right here, you put a little Care Bear that is makeup into a shape and you put it in a clear egg-like sphere. It's like all of my childhood wants and dreams smashed into a little device right here. And the truth is, I'm not going to use any of these, but they're looking at me and they're so cute. Okay, so not going to get them, but they just make me happy. I think they're $16 each. I wouldn't blame you if you got one just to stare at it, but I'm trying not to be that person, but they look super fun and super cute. I feel like we definitely have a vibe going on for eyeshadows. Remember the ABH one we just talked about? I feel like it had a little bit of that kind of warm and metallic lean to it. It was a little bit darker, a little bit grungier. There was a new one from Huda Beauty. This is the Empowered eyeshadow palette. It's kind of giving me similar feels. Not identical, but I feel like they're kind of a variation on a theme. We have some cool plums. We have some warm terracotta shades. We have some really bright and bold metallics, both cool and warm. I feel like it's a really interesting eyeshadow palette. But here's the one thing I'll tell you. Although I love the Rose Quartz eyeshadow palette, I think the quality is amazing. I think the sparkle is amazing. I think the mattes wear well. I think everything is really good about that palette. I feel a little overwhelmed by the size. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, it's so gorgeous. And I was like, but wait, you already have an eyeshadow palette that size and you really only use half of it. So if I was looking at this, here's what I would do. I would probably edit out maybe a good 6 or maybe even 9 of these shades. I feel like there's a couple of kind of rosy gold metallics in the middle that are similar. They're probably not identical, but they give me a similar feel by looking at them straight in the palette. There's 2 really bright golds. There are some kind of peachy tones that I probably would be less interested in. I'd be more interested in kind of like those cooler berry and gray tones. I feel like this would be better as a 9-pan palette, but I know there's a significant difference of the quality from Huda's 9-pan palettes to Huda's 18-pan palette. So maybe this is what sells and this is what calls to me, But this would be another one that would be better to like, okay, let's edit it down to 9 pans and then see if within my collection I have 9 of these pans that could give me the same idea, that could get this vibe going, and I wouldn't have to pay the $67 wow, for one of these palettes. Although it's beautiful and I'm sure the quality is amazing, I would probably reach for it during the fall and maybe early winter, and then it would sit in a drawer. And I don't want to spend my money that way right now. But yes, I totally get it. And it looks beautiful. So I'm going to try not to be too snarky. There's a new holiday release from Too Faced. And I have seen this image already. There's several images here. But their holiday release for this year is very much like they've done in years past. They have a couple of those small 8-pan metal tins. The packaging is super cute. The colors are ones we've seen. They'll have some of those larger palettes that have cheek and eye products in them, blushes in one and eyeshadows. Another one they'll have highlights and eyeshadows. Okay, fine. We've seen those before too. They'll have some lip sets. They'll have some mascara minis. They'll have like the collection of 4 giant full-size mascaras at a reduced price, so you have mascara all year long. But the truth is, although this sort of stuff really used to pull me in, it doesn't anymore. And I don't know whether it's I'm pushing 50 and this cutesy is not where I'm hanging my hat anymore, or whether it's just that I have had too many Too Faced eyeshadow palettes that I pick up during the holidays, or face palettes that I pick up during the holidays, where I'm hoping it's going to be like what I normally get when I get a palette from them, and then I find out that the quality is not the same. And maybe I've had too many experiences like that, or I'll get a set of minis, and the truth is, me and minis, I love the idea of a mini, but it's very rare that I reach for a mini. I want a full size, and I want it to, I don't know, maybe I haven't embraced minis yet, but I feel like sometimes they're so small and they're so dinky. I have a hard time. I have giant man hands. So I don't know whether it's the tininess of it. I don't know whether it's the kitschy kittiness of it. I don't know if it's that we've seen this from them nonstop for the last decade plus. This just, it's not doing it for me. Now I know that the reason they're putting this out there is that marketing tells them it makes money. People buy it, people love it. They come back every year for that, you know, Better Than Sex library. So they have mascara all year, or the little 8-pan eyeshadow tins, or you see what I'm saying? I see that. The person who might just be getting into makeup can get one of those sets that has several palettes with cheek and eye shades. I see that, but I guess maybe I'm at the point in my life where I always want the quality to be the same as I would pay for a full-size palette. And if you're going to diminish the quality at the holidays so that you can sell it at a lower price point, I'm just not interested. And I feel like a lot of these shades, either I've seen them, I have them, or they just aren't for me. This is just completely like a, okay, here's a holiday release that's completely the opposite. And I kind of don't understand it, and let's talk about it. It's from Pat McGrath. Now, I don't know if it's because the packaging is so luxe and beautiful. It looks gorgeous. You know, the black packaging, the bright colors, everything about it looks alluring to my eye. But I think what's really pulling me in, I was looking at that giant pan that has kind of like 3 sets of 6 shades. You kind of the cooler browns with the green, you have kind of the purpley vibrant blues in the middle, and then the warm tones with the reds and the golds at the end. There's 3 sets of 6 in there. And I think that's interesting, but I just know that that larger palette, first of all, too many shades. Second of all, too many bright blues, greens, reds, things that I'm not gonna wear. And I don't wanna pay for one of those larger eyeshadow palettes that I'm gonna struggle to store and that I'm not gonna wear all the shades. I'm just not gonna do it. Then I saw she has these little palettes with 5 shades. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so pretty. And there's a kind of a rosy pink one. And I've really been into rose toned eyeshadows this year, but I've realized I haven't been reaching for them a ton recently. And then there's one that's completely cool, like a cool brown with some kind of cooler metallics in there. And I was like, ooh. But what really drew me in was the face palettes. And I don't know, I don't always have a really good run with face palettes. I'll start using them for a while and then they'll get pushed to the side, and I do much better with individually packaged blush, highlight, bronzer, what have you. And here, and I love the Pat McGrath blushes a lot, and I'm like, both of these palettes are just like speaking to me, buy me, buy me. And they each come with a highlight. I mean, like there's 4 blushes and a highlight. How lovely is that? And then on top of that, she has her iconic Sublime Skin highlights in one of the shades that would probably work perfect for my fair skin. I'm just, okay. I'm trying to tell myself I don't need any of these things, but this one's a little bit harder, where Too Faced kind of was like, forget it, not even a little bit interested. This is kind of like, and I'm trying to remind myself that I'll probably be just fine without it. I don't know. I really am eyeballing one of those eyeshadows with the more edited 5-pan ones, and probably one of the face palettes, but I don't know. It's gorgeous though. And this is the sort of thing that really calls to me and is kind of vying for my attention. This is a sort of holiday release that excites me. All right, so I was just scrolling. I scrolled through 22 posts before I found something that kind of made me have some feelings. And I think that's the one hard thing about this time of year. We're dealing with a lot of releases for Halloween. We're dealing with a lot of fall themed releases and a lot of holiday stuff that's already out there. And I feel like sometimes with this kind of really big push on like consumerism, I just get overwhelmed and I'm not even interested. I also feel like there's that little bit of let's throw it at the wall and see what sticks. And the minute I feel like it's even slightly discombobulated, I'm not even interested at all. But this is interesting because the next time I stopped, as I was going through, it's Tarte. And what's interesting here is I feel like the aesthetic is different, where you have kind of like the cutesy packaging at Too Faced and the bright kind of pastel colors. Here, it's definitely a little bit more grown up. We've got that new huge eyeshadow palette with the black, the leopard print on the outside. We have a couple of blush palettes. We have several eyeshadow palettes, but they look to be a little bit more edited. That is interesting to me. And then they have their regular holiday offerings, like their mascara bundled together with an eyelash curler. That's something we've seen before. A package of maybe a sampler of their different types of mascara. I've seen that before. I feel like they definitely have their regular basic things, but somehow this is, I'm not saying I'm running out to buy it, but this is even just interesting to me. It kind of gives me those feelings of, oh, I haven't tried those Amazonian clay blushes in a while. Or, oh, I haven't tried that new eyeshadow palette I've heard really good things about. But again, what's interesting is that eyeshadow palette, if you're looking at it, it has similar colors to the one from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It has similar colors to the one from Huda Beauty. A lot of berries, a lot of warm tones, some kind of cooler nudes. It's really interesting that we're all coming to this same very fall inspired place with, you know, berries and neutrals and terracottas. I don't know, but I've seen so many good reviews about this. It's too big for me. I wouldn't get it because it would just be a nightmare for me. 24 shades, that's way too many. That's like 14 more than I could probably handle. But I do feel like their smaller 6-pan palettes for the holidays that come with their Lights Camera Lashes or their Man Eater mascara, that's smart because you're able to try one of their mascaras and kind of get a complete eye look out of it. Now, the one that kind of has me a little bit worried is the pack of 2 eyeshadows where you have, looks like 18 shades in each palette, and they come in a pack together. I feel like that might be too many eyeshadows, 36 shades altogether. How could they really be good for this price? Do you see what I'm saying? Where maybe the quality, and I don't know, is the quality different between their new Man Eater palette and what they're putting in these 36 shades in this duo pack of eyeshadows? That's the one problem I've always had with these holiday releases from Tarte, from Too Faced, from, you know, Clinique or other brands like that. I don't like that, and I wish they were consistent across the board. But I definitely see how people would be lured in by this. Oh, I had this in and out of a cart a while ago. It's their Maracuja Juicy Lip Quad. It looks like you have a 2-pack there. 2 of these and 2 of the others, and you can split them and share them or keep them all for yourself. They have several different formulas. That really looked interesting to me, but I need more lipstick. Like I need a hole in my head. These are the sort of lip products though that I love. Those juicy gloss-like lip products that leave your lips nourished, hydrated. My daughter has one of the Juicy Lips, loves it. And I thought, you know, oh, I could get this and give 2 to her and keep 2 for myself. And I was like, neither of us need this. But that really did kind of catch my eye. But the truth is, this actually had me thinking perhaps where the one from Too Faced made me going like, no. When I saw the new Hourglass holiday palettes, I was hooked. Just on the artwork on the outside, like the tiger and the elephant. Love, like the blue with the tiger on it. That is just the best. Elephants are literally my favorite animal. They're so smart, they're so affectionate, they're so like amazing. I love elephants and I have since I was a kid. And then you tell me that I can customize this palette. I could go on the Hourglass website and build my own with all the shades I wanted so it could be perfect for me. Like I was literally this close to doing it. And I was like, do I want tigers or do I want an elephant? Do I want tigers or do I want an elephant? And I was like, but wait a minute. How many like Ghost of Holiday Past Hourglass palettes do you have? Like I would think of Scrooge and like the Ghost of Christmas Past. Like if I were to open up all of my drawers and open up all of my stuff, how many past holiday palettes do I have from Hourglass? I know I have 3 of the 6-pan palettes. I have 1 of the 4-pan palettes, like the little mini editing unlocked, ambient lighting unlocked. I got that a couple years ago. There was a trio of like glowy blushes from a long time ago. Like I have several $100s in holiday palettes from Hourglass and I haven't hit pan in a single one of them. So I need a new Hourglass like holiday palette. Like I need another hole in my head. But this had me right there. And I remember the last time these came out, I think they were $75. They weren't customizable. And so there's that. And there also weren't like, here I feel like you have a variety of shades, even if you were to get a pre-made one that reaches like different skin tones. It's not just for the fair and pale like me, it's for everybody now. And I like that. I feel like they're sick of us complaining that they're not inclusive enough. They're like, okay, you want inclusive? We've got 3 palettes for you this holiday. Finally, should have done it a long time ago. But I'm still not gonna spend $85 on this. I think the best thing to do, I do love the ambient lighting powders. I love the blushes, the bronzers, the highlights. They're all beautiful. And the truth is, in my entire collection of things, the ambient lighting powder is the one product I have been buying for the last 15 years, and I have never been without a compact of it. And when I remember how gorgeous and flawless those powders are, especially the older I get, I will pull out one of those, you know, Ghost of Holiday Past palettes, and I will use it for a total look, and I'm so amazed. So the truth is, I don't need this, but it did instantly give me like all the feels, and it made me want it, and it made me go, oh wow, really? You mean I can make my own? Like I literally had to tell myself to take a step back, take a deep cleansing breath, and evaluate. But beautiful, yeah, no, it got me for sure. I had my fingers crossed that I would see a holiday set from Rare that would be exactly what I was looking for. I wanted to try more of their liquid blushes, but in like little minis. And they came out with the set and I was like, oh wait, is that for me? Is it have my name on it? And then I realized that they have 2 minis and 1 full size, and the full size is the one I already have and encouraged. Like it's living in my everyday makeup drawer for this month. It's right here. I was like, it's that. No. I was kind of bummed. I feel like this is great. If you've never tried it, I love this formula. It is so good. And for $30, you're going to get 1 full size and 2 minis. And you literally need the smallest amount. Blending it out with your fingers, a damp sponge, a, you know, kind of dense blending brush. Like you can get such beautiful results. So if you haven't tried this, I'm not saying you need to rush out and get it, but if you're interested, I think it's worth it. But I know that they have kind of like minis of their lip liner and their new Kind Words lipstick. And I was like, oh great. And the one they have is the one I already have. I think it's worthy. Anyway, it's fine. I feel like I'm missing the holiday releases in shades that I don't already have from Rare. So maybe I'm already picking up their most popular things, which is fine. Here's another one, a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette. This has been out for a minute. This is the My Dream collection. When I saw this, like for the last several years, I have missed the holiday eyeshadow release from Natasha Denona. Remember when the bronze palette came out? Didn't get it. And then the glam palette, like really, I didn't get it. I should have. That was probably the one that I probably should have gotten out of all of them. And then last year there was kind of like a rose themed one. What was it called? The retro. Beautiful. Not for me. And now this year, the My Dream. Oh, so pretty. But the truth is, I'm curious what this looks like next to the Huda Beauty, next to the ABH. I feel like we're seeing a lot of the same things. these deep dark plums with some neutral shades and some really bright intense metallics. I feel like I already have that. I think maybe the best thing to do is to go through and look for shades like this in my collection already. Pull in that mix of deep berries, those cooler kind of taupey neutrals, a little bit of warmth with a nude shade here and there, and create my own version of the Huda or the Natasha Denona or the ABH, and not necessarily commit to this. But it's really interesting because I feel like we're seeing variations on a theme with these kind of deep berry tones. And even though the one from Tarte, the Man-Eater palette, was a little bit more like terracotta and bronzy, I feel like it had a little bit more in common with the Huda Beauty. I really feel like, you know, I have all of those. I don't need anything new. But yeah, that's really interesting that it's a lot of the same but different. Okay, this one, I literally stopped myself this morning because I was on the website and I had my cart full, and I'll probably get an email reminder later that my cart is full, but it's Kaleidos. I have never tried anything from Kaleidos, and I recently mentioned in a video kind of updates on new products I'd purchased that I'd fallen in love with the Danessa Myricks Infinite Chromes eyeliner, and it's $22, and I'm almost, like I'm probably more than halfway through the one that I have, and someone sent me a comment going, did you know that Kaleidos just released new multi-chrome gel liners? And I was like, ooh, they're only $16. They're less expensive than the ones from Danessa. So I literally had 2 of these in my cart this morning and one of the new quads here because you know I love me a quad, but I had to walk away. I walked away and I was like, let's think about this. Because once I was there, I was putting in a highlight and I was putting in a blush and I was over purchasing. So I told myself to take a step back. And I think a lot of times, and this is stupid, I spend a little bit more so I can get free shipping. And I should just embrace the pay for the $7 or the $10 shipping and only get what you want. But it seems like a waste. It seems like a waste. But they do that on purpose and they know that about me. Danessa Myricks Lightwork palette. This is the, was it Lightworks 4? Oh my giddy aunt. Like literally, it makes me catch my breath. It's so stunning. But when I take the time to look at it, it's $125. So she's a pretty penny. But on top of that, there's a lot of shades here. I don't wear bright purples. I don't wear bright blues. I don't wear those intense vibrant greens. There are some shades in there that I would wear, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff in here that although it's the sort of thing I would want to finger paint with. And that I would want to, you know, swatch and see like how does it, like the sparkle hits the light as I'm looking at it. Like it would be so much fun to play with. But I don't know that these are the sorts of shades that would be my everyday sort of makeup. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm being a little bit more realistic. Is it beautiful? Yes. Is it glorious? Yes. Is it spectacular? All of those things. But would I use it? And for $125, I definitely want to, because I have so many other things that I've spent a lot of money on that I just realized that's not how I wear makeup. I want to wear makeup that way. I want to be the person who wears those bright bold shades. I want to be the person who has all these fun shifty shades on the eyes, but I have a lot of shadows that like multi-chromes and duochromes, and I don't really reach for them that often. And that's me knowing who I am and not giving in. But let me tell you, the little kid who loved like school supplies and art projects and all of the, I used to have a huge collection of art supplies, watched like the video snippets of these beautiful lightwork shades from Danessa Myricks, and I was literally drooling. It was amazing, but I just have to remind myself that's not who I am right now. As I'm sitting here thinking about all of these holiday releases, my eye is not really, you know, caught at all by the ones that are for Halloween. I love me some Beetlejuice, but I don't need purples and greens on my eyes. It's not me. Or my lips. And I feel like it's more the winter holiday releases that excite me, those kind of Christmas related ones. But the truth is, nothing really makes me need to have it. I think the place where I'm the closest is potentially a few things from the Pat McGrath. But if I wait long enough, I might just be able to talk myself off the ledge, you know? I feel like there's a lot of beautiful stuff out there, but I'm also just feeling a little overwhelmed. I've picked up a lot of new stuff recently. I definitely have been trying a lot of new things. Not all of it is brand new to the market, but new to me. And the truth is, I feel like I'm at a good place. But then I gotta tell myself that when I get excited about new releases. Because I see these sometimes, I'm like, oh my goodness, my goodness. Like I've been really talking myself down. which I think is good. But I would love to know, are any of these really calling to you? Are any of these really exciting you? Are these the sorts of things you were like, please, please, please release a set like this, or please give me a palette that has XYZ? Let me know what that is in the comment section down below. And if you would be interested in watching me kind of pick one of these palettes and maybe see if I can find similar shades in what I already have in my existing collection, that might kind of be fun to do. Let me know. I'd be willing to do one of those. It takes a little bit more effort, but I think it would be super, super fulfilling. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.